For every question you don't need to remember all the facts, but there are some other ways to do the questions also. That is, if you have good grasp of the things, if you have good overall knowledge, some questions you can do by the reasoning also. That is like एक बार options पढ़ने के बाद हमें कुछ answers अपने आप easy लगते हैं. 10 to 15 questions are not very difficult to get answered in the whole exam. So I would repeat some of the things that I have already repeated. Should be your strike rate in this. So this will give you a cushion against the tougher questions of dynamic areas. So that is what my idea is, that in this area you should be strong enough to not allow dynamic area to rule you when you hit that area. ये तीन section मिला के static area से है. These sections come from the book areas, from the fixed areas. So it's sensible. It's sensible, you should hit at least 60% here and must be able to score around 40 marks in this section. So this 40 marks will give you a good heads up for the other areas. That is what I want you to focus on. Okay, then coming to the dynamic area, which includes economics. Well, economics, I tell you, on a bad day, economics, ecology, environment, on a bad day, these things generally go wrong and things may get out of control. You may get panic in the examination. So these three areas, I would like you to be having sensible approach, plus some questions you do by reasoning. That is, you just don't know the fact. You may not be knowing the fact, but still you are able to do. So idea is, overall, इस सेक्शन में से 30 to 40 मार्क्स स्कोर कर लो इस स्टैटिक सेक्शन में से, and then 10 marks around from the reasoning area. That is some of the questions that comes from your past knowledge or your overall knowledge, and then the pressure on this section will be released. 30 to 40 in this, out of 100 marks or 120 marks, around 100, you will have around 60 questions from these three areas together, that is including current affairs. So 30 to 40 marks here will give you a lot. 60 into 2, that is 120 marks on offing, and in that around 30 to 40 marks is what you can score generally. So my idea overall is the dynamic area you cannot rely upon. Dynamic area पे आप भरोसा नहीं कर सकते. On a given day it can rule you, on a given day it can ruin you. Okay, but on the static area side, Indian national movement, polity, geography, all these areas comparatively on a better side, अच्छे से score हो जाता है. So I hope by mock 8, how many of you would say that their static area is completely over? They don't need to do anything else. Just solve the questions. I would like to know how many of you can actually claim that 30 to 40 marks you can easily get in the static area. If you have that confidence, I would say for general studies part, paper 1 part, you will not be having any problem in the examination. Because थोड़ा सा भी अच्छा सेंस रखते हो, 10-15 मार्क्स सेंस से आ जाते हैं क्वेश्चंस. कुछ क्वेश्चंस ऐसे होते हैं, जरूरी नहीं है सब कुछ पता हो, फिर भी आंसर आने लगता है. 40-50 मार्क्स, 30-40 मार्क्स स्टैटिक एरिया में आ जाए, इन दोनों को मिला के 50-55 मार्क्स जीएस पेपर में हो जाए, तो यू आर ऑन अ सेफर साइड. Then dynamic area, of course, you will not do everything wrong, but in that area there is a lot, there is a wide area, that is a very wide area. So generally, people are unable to answer a lot of questions. Economics बहुत लोगों का वीक होता है, environmental में जनरली नहीं पता होता कहाँ से आए, साइंस एंड टेक जनरली नहीं पता होता कहाँ से आए. तो इसलिए ओवरऑल डायनामिक एरियाज आई वुड अगेन से उस पर रिलाई करके मत जाओ, स्टैटिक एरियाज पर रिलाई करो और अपने रीजनिंग पर रिलाई करो. And then of course paper 2, Tarun must be taking your sessions, and you must be having a good idea about the other areas in the paper 2. Paper 2 will of course be the driver, because 120 नंबर 125 नंबर आ जाते हैं पेपर 2 में. पेपर 1 में 120-125 लाना बहुत ही टफ होता है. So have a fair understanding. अराउंड 80 के आसपास पेपर 1 में और 120 के आसपास पेपर 2 में, इन्हीं दोनों का एम सेट रखोगे, don't be in a much of hurry, panicking नहीं होना है, just have these concentrated areas and you will be through. So aim of the session overall to enhance your performance in civil services examination. कोई knowledge के लिए पढ़ रहा है तो जिस sense के लिए भी पढ़ रहा है, that is up to him, but overall idea is to get your optimization in civil services prelims exam. This is paper 1, paper 2 of course will be coming to you tomorrow. To help us, so analysis of the questions, analyze करो questions को. I've said many a time, see the options also before answering the question. Options भी देखो, options में बहुत सारे ऐसे options दिए रहते हैं जिनके help से answer निकल आता है. Fact जरूरी नहीं है जानना, और इतनी ज्यादा fact वैसे भी नहीं याद होता. तो analyze the questions, you get the areas where you are comfortable, उन areas को concentrate करके solid कर लो. जो areas कुछ सब sections जो नहीं समझ में आ रहे, छोड़ सकते हो आप उन्हें. Out of 100 questions, maybe 1 or 2 questions from a particular area. So I would say, a subsection can be left. Not the whole section. Economics पूरा का पूरा मत छोड़ दो, but economics के अंदर भी कोई 3-4 क्वेश्चन का पार्ट हो सकता है, या कोई पर्टिकुलर 2-3 क्वेश्चन का पार्ट हो सकता है, वो आप छोड़ सकते हो. So but your preparation should be ready for 90 questions at least. 90 क्वेश्चन की एक अच्छी सी प्रिपरेशन आपकी रेडी हमेशा ही होनी चाहिए. So then understanding the areas where you are comfortable, 100%. You should be ready with those areas. Help you customize your own paper to approach the paper. So idea is, see the questions which you are able to solve, and then leave some of the areas you can actually prepare hard, some of the areas you can leave. Idea is to make yourself comfortable with the areas in the paper. 8 पेपर अब दे चुके हो आप, 800 क्वेश्चन कर चुके हो. अब तक आपको पता चल जाना चाहिए कि कौन सा एरिया आपको लगातार परेशान कर रहा है और कौन से एरिया में आप क्रिस गेल हो. अब जिस एरिया में आप क्रिस गेल हो, ठीक है, खूब छक्के मारेंगे, लेकिन बहुत सारे एरियाज है जहां पे आप रेगुलर इंडियन बैट्समैन हो, तो फिर वहां पे तो बहुत दिक्कत होगी. बॉल कोई भी आए, पिच कोई भी, आउट तो 0 पे ही होते हैं. ओके, सो आई वुड माई पॉइंट इज, गेट द एरियाज वेर यू आर कंफर्टेबल. उन एरियाज को कंसंट्रेट करो पेपर 1 के लिए, क्योंकि इंडिया एम है जब 80-90 मार्क्स पाना, कोई 200 में 200 नहीं लाना है एग्जाम क्वालिफाई करने के लिए पेपर 1 में. यू विल हैव अ नंबर ऑफ क्वेश्चंस व्हिच यू कैन लीव. सो सेलेक्ट रिजेक्ट. योर पॉइंट शुड बी, आप कुछ एरिया सेलेक्ट कर लो, कुछ एरिया साथ साथ रिजेक्ट भी कर दो जो आपको सरदर्दी दे रहे हो. Which question to attempt and which one not? So it will be depending upon you. Idea is, आप questions देखो, ask your doubts, ask your unconfirmed areas, and then devise a strategy of your own. Help a strategy of your own. So to add value to the understanding and solving approach to the civil services prelims exam. So that is our overall aim. So overall aim is to understand and solve approach. उस तरह से सही करो. 800 क्वेश्चन आप कर चुके हो, आप समझ लो कुछ तरह के क्वेश्चन जो आप लगातार कर रहे हो कैसे हो रहा है. और एक चीज और दैट आई वुड लाइक टू से इज दैट सम ऑफ द क्वेश्चन स्टूडेंट आर द डाउट दैट कि सर जैसे कोई पर्टिकुलर स्कीम के बारे में क्वेश्चन पूछा पेपर में, उसमें 4 स्टेटमेंट है. इट्स वेरी डिफिकल्ट टू रिमेंबर दोस 4 स्टेटमेंट्स व्हेन दे कम फॉर द एग्जाम. डू यू, आई नो मोस्ट ऑफ यू मस्ट बी थिंकिंग दैट कि उन तरह के क्वेश्चन कैसे किए जाए. नाउ आइडिया इज, I would say that in every paper, in every mock paper, you have 6 to 7 questions regarding any particular scheme or any important, maybe a scheme and or something, I would say particular mission by a government. So point is, these questions overall make a tabulate data from these papers. आप इन 10 पेपरों को मिला के यू कैन गेट 6 to 7 क्वेश्चंस फ्रॉम ईच पेपर. तो 60 to 70 टोटल स्कीम्स मिशंस आपके पास रेडी हो जाएंगे. आई वुड से गो ओनली फॉर दीज स्कीम्स. बहुत लोग पूछते हैं कि किधर से पढ़े, यहाँ से पढ़े, वहां से पढ़े. मोस्ट ऑफ द क्वेश्चंस आर गिवन इन योर पेपर. These 6-7 schemes that are in the news or that were in the news some days back, you can just remember these schemes. that यही जरूरत से ज्यादा हो जाएगा. The overall thing that you require for the exam is not as much as you like this. 6 to 7 questions you are getting every scheme in every paper. तो वही 6-7 क्वेश्चन एक बार आप वापस घर जाके पढ़ो जरूर, और देख लो उनमें से कोई पार्ट आपसे मिस हो रहा है या कैच कर रहे हो आप. जो कैच नहीं हो पा रहा है वो पार्ट आप वापस नेट पर रेफर करो या यहाँ के रेफर करो और या आंसर शीट में रेफर करो. सो माई आइडिया इज, ओवरऑल आफ्टर 10 एग्जाम्स यू विल हैव 60 to 70 schemes ready with you, cooked. in the final form, not in the raw material form, you will have in the final form. तो ये 60 से 70 ही पढ़ लो, यही बहुत है, इतना भी आसान नहीं होता याद करने का. So my idea is those schemes and those current affairs, some scheme or some mission by the government, कहाँ से पढ़े कहाँ से नहीं पढ़े, you will have thousands of books in the market. But I would say best is paper ही उठाओ. पेपर में आप you just browse through every paper and in every paper you see 6 to 7 schemes are given. उनका टैबुलेट करो. कई इनमें ऑप्शन होता है कि कई ऑप्शन गलत हैं, कई सही हैं. Just repeat it in one or two lines again, that just 6-7 questions from every mock paper and you get 60 to 70 schemes and missions all together. 60 to 70 missions and schemes all together, and I think that is more than enough for you to get good in the paper, to get things in the paper. Okay, fine. So we move ahead. Flow of the session, general approach, discussion of mock 8 paper 1. So I would like you to ask the question numbers from the questions which you have doubt, in the questions that you think you have a doubt, and we can discuss about that. Yes. So question numbers. Hello. Now everyone, can you hear me? Just reply if you can hear me. Hello. I have said many a times, please ask your question not in the answer column, rather in the chat area. Tanmay, I can see your questions there. Please type your questions in the chat area. Please don't type your questions in the question and answer area. It becomes difficult to capture chat area and Q&A area both. So Tanmay asked the question, so is the India yearbook important? I would say in India yearbooks you can take agricultural area, and with agricultural area you can at least see industry area also. These two will give you a nice hand, because rest of the areas that are covered in the regular media, you just need not worry about those areas and just can check those two areas only. Then economic survey, yes, economic survey is very important, and I would say not only just economic survey, along with economic survey, you can take agricultural survey, then environmental survey, then women and child development survey, So all these three other than economic survey can give you a good glimpse of the Government of India's program throughout the year. Yes. So we move ahead with the paper. So we will be moving on with the way we have moved on since last two times. Just give me the question numbers and we will be discussing about those question numbers. So all of you, we can start the session with particular questions from the various areas. We have some very good questions out there, and we generally have some wrong questions and some errors also out there in the paper. So we move on to question number 1. Question number 1, Indian social reformers during 19th century prepared primary books of Indian languages. Okay. Now, question, see on the question number 1, if you have the paper with you. Okay, then modern and reformist ideas were spread among the mass of people in India primarily through English literature. We know at that time there was no widely English literature read around the country, so second option is not very difficult to be thought that it is wrong. So certainly second is wrong. We can avoid these two options. So we can avoid this and this option. Left is A and D. So now after this, I would say that when you have two options left, when you are very sure about other two options, then certainly sometimes chances can be taken. So if you have certain ability to wipe out two options at least, you can certainly take some chances. Well, here the correct answer is one is correct, that is A option. So correct answer is option A. Well, we move on to next question. Next question, I would take I'll skip some questions and we'll take some important questions which are there. Okay. And in between that, if you have some doubt areas, you can certainly bring in with that. Question number 2, consider the following statements in the regard to Indian Council Act 1990. So Indian Council Act 1919, very important. Government of India Act 1919, certainly a precursor to Government of India Act 1935, which became the foundation of our constitution today. It introduced bicameral legislature. Well, certainly correct the first time. Then it's separated provincial budgets from the central budget. If you have a good review of this, then you can easily find this statement too. And it introduced a separate representation of chambers of commerce, universities and zamindars. Well, of course, it's certainly wrong. It did not introduce, and rather the correct answer is 1 and 2, that is option A. And when we talk about the separate representation of chambers of commerce, university and zamindar, it was introduced in 1909 India Councils Act, which is very famously called, which one? Minto-Morley reforms. This one is called Minto-Morley reforms. Okay, so going further, no, you can, it's very difficult to take 100 questions in just 1 to 1.5 hours. If you all are able to hear me, you can type the questions that we need to discuss, the questions that you have problem, because it's difficult to take 100 questions. That is what our method has regularly been. Yes, Pankaj asked question that about Dharwar region in question number 3. Now, if you know about Dharwar region, question number 3, Dharwar region is, it has one of the oldest rock structure in the country. The geography, if you have read about the geography areas, the Dharwar orogeny, that is among the oldest rock structure in the country, and this type of rock structure does not have many sedimentary rocks, rather it has a number of metamorphic and igneous rocks. So referring to this question, when it is asked about uranium deposits occur in Dharwar rocks, yes, uranium along with the ferrous deposits are common in the Dharwar area. So Dharwar area is generally rich in ferrous and the uranium deposits. And when we talk about thorium, thorium is, first, if you the book that you can refer for Dharwar area is from the geography book from NCERT. You can read, or you can read from the this geography book by this All India book by, the geography voluminous book. This is the author. I just slipped with the author. Okay, I'll just tell you about the name of the author after I complete the question. Well, taking the question again, Dharwar area, it is in the Andhra Pradesh area. It is one of the oldest area where orogeny took place. So India's real plateau, that is India's plateau area, the base of the plateau area started from the Dharwar region. It is generally referred to as the Precambrian times, when around 2 billion years back, when the Earth, when our orogeny started in the crust of the Indian plate, which was at that time in the Southern Ocean. So this area is generally very famous for the ferrous minerals and plus the associated deposits. So Dharwar rocks are generally around the Dharwar area, and it forms around the 3 to 4 kilometer seam below the earth from where these are mined. Well, next question. Yes, next question, Pankaj, or if you have any doubt, you can further ask. Well, today there are very few questions being popped up. Yes, which of the following loans are kept from the preview of the base rate system? Now, what is base rate system? Base rate system is that is the minimum interest rate that they have to charge. Okay, the minimum interest rate that they will charge. But to encourage capital flows and to encourage businesses in some areas, Government of India has excluded some of the areas from agricultural loans. Okay, so agricultural loans is also among the areas where the base system is not used and the loans can be given at an interest rate below the base rate. So that is what the idea behind this question is. Your prime lending rate, it is basically, why, I don't know why are you concerned about the BPLR, but the prime lending rate, it's a bit different, I would say. Agricultural loans, yes, PLR, when you talk about PLR, it's correct, but many of the areas, in agricultural areas, there hasn't been quite a good capital flow. So to increase capital in this area, the government has initiated this point that base rate should be, the loans can be provided below the base rate in these areas. So that is the main idea, to encourage investments and work capital flow in the agricultural loans. So, well, it's no, not with BPLR. Your question point I am not able to understand. It was initiated against BPLR or PLR. It was against PLR, but the idea was to increase cash flows in the agricultural areas, and the similar way loans given to the employees of a bank that are at a very cheap rates, below base rate, loans against deposit. Well, it is certainly well, because deposits means there is a collateral security, their export credit, very, very important to improve the export sector of the country, like agricultural area. Then next question. और जब तक आप सोचो हम लोग कुछ क्वेश्चन ले सकते हैं इसमें. Suppose I would ask you to move on to question number 10. Tanmoy, I could not see your questions, being written there, because I have told you please write in the chat section. So Tanmoy asked for question number 7. Question number 7, we move on. Food, oxygen and waste materials in our bodies get transported by blood. In this regard, consider the following statements. Blood plasma transports food, carbon dioxide and nitrogenous waste in dissolved form. Well, that is 100% correct. Oxygen carried by red blood cells are dissolved in the cytoplasm of the cell. Now, if we know the hemoglobin's main function is this. Hemoglobin has a iron part that is called hemo, and the globin. Okay, so when from the blood, well, it is present in the blood. So when oxygen gets diffused in the blood, this hemoglobin reacts with oxygen, couples with oxygen, and then supplies the oxygen to the required cells via the blood. So blood moves in our body. That is the main thing, because it carries oxygen along with the hemoglobin, and this hemoglobin, which couples with the oxygen, supplies much needed oxygen to our blood cells. So hemoglobin, very important point. The second point is certainly wrong. Is not dissolved in the cytoplasm, rather it is reacted with hemoglobin. So correct answer is 1 only. That is the main function of the blood. Of course, 1 and 2 both. The next question. Yes, Mrityunjay, it has been mentioned that there was a question, Mahanadi river flowing through Jharkhand. No, I am unable to get your question. Which question that is? Okay, question number 13 from Pankaj. Does NREGA include sustainable development? Because if we will go by definition of sustainable, it is about the future development, but somehow NREGA is producing unskilled labor. It encourages sustainable development in the sense that many of the schemes that are being undertaken in the NREGA are used to encourage sustainable development. It's more of a subjective from your part, because देखो जैसे practically हम बहुत चीजें जो सोचते हैं theoretically वो नहीं है, and these things, the questions are made basically on the theoretical point of view. Any scheme will be aimed to produce sustainable development. Either it may produce or may not produce practically, but every scheme nowadays are designed to practically produce a sustainable development. So I hope you get my point. So it's very unfair to actually say that a particular scheme may not be sustainable in that sense. Kavita, question number 5. Okay, I hope the point is clear. Pankaj, it's sustainable development is a theoretical point of view. You are absolutely correct in protection of unskilled laborers, but unskilled labor is just an it's a byproduct of this scheme, which people don't think. Yes, some of the areas we get the unskilled laborers, but still the aim is unsustainable development, to encourage sustainable development, and कुछ उसमें से part of course unsustainable है, which they say they can correct it further. Okay, question number 5. Latest UNEP report commission highlights how humans massively altered the natural flows of nitrogen, phosphorus and other nutrients. Consider the following statements in this regard. Altered natural flows of nitrogen, phosphorus. Well, I don't think there is any big doubt here, because when you come to the third option, since agricultural products are a major source of uncontrolled nutrient use, hence they are not threatening sensitive ecosystems and contributing to climatic change. Well, they are actually threatening sensitive ecosystems and contributing to climate change, because I think it's in the solution it's given that how they are actually targeting. If not given, you can just read through the solution also. The agricultural products are a major source of uncontrolled neutral use, and they are threatening systems and contribute. Hence, smarter utilization nutrients will help clean up the planet. Uncontrolled nutrient is, for particular ecosystems, there is a particular amount of nutrition needed. Some of the ecosystems, some of the products does not provide that exact amount. They generally overburden it. So in that case, the sensitive ecosystems may be threatened by those uncontrolled nutrient use. So third question, how to identify third statement? It is wrong, because it is almost true that if you read this question part again, since agricultural products are a major source of uncontrolled nutrient use, hence they are not threatening. Well, if it is uncontrolled, then it will be threatening, of course. Either the first part is wrong or the second part is wrong. If it is uncontrolled, it will be mostly threatening. So 90% chances that this statement is certainly wrong, because both the parts are not in parallel sync with each other. Okay. Coming to question number 1 and 2, altered natural flows of nitrogen, phosphorus and other nutrients have huge benefits for world food energy production. Certainly, altered natural flows of nutrients has caused a web of water and air pollution that is damaging human health, causing toxic algal blooms and killing fishes. Certainly, it has. The eutrophication is one of the ideally unforeseen event that we see due to the altered natural flow. Yes, next question. How is it beneficial? No, the altered natural flow, it's not exactly more of a beneficial. It's like we have made it beneficial by some ways that it has helped in increasing food and energy production. But the negative part is that it is not sustainable. So that is what scientists say, that it should be the natural flows of nitrogen, phosphorus and other nutrients that have been massively altered, have been altered for our benefit, but they may not be sustainable. They have certain ill effects also. Yes, next question. Yeah, publication or Kavita, just go to their respective governmental websites and you can get the surveys there directly. Or if you want, you can take from the market the smaller version. I think Golden Peacock publication also publishes it. So just take the smaller version, that will be more than enough. Yes, next question. Yes, Kavita, question number 31. Yes, all of you, please ask the question slowly because, the screen gets moving very fast. Okay, currency devaluation done by the government leads to which of the following? So, if you want, we can explain, just concentrate for some time, I say, suppose $1 is equal to 50 rupees right now. Okay. Suppose 50 rupees right now. Okay. India is an importer of some things. India is also exporter of some goods. Okay. Now, suppose you are buying suppose there is a currency devaluation and the currency is now $1 is equal to 55 rupees. Okay. $1 is equal to 55 rupees. So if you want an iPhone from US, suppose one of your relatives is going and you gave him $500. You gave him, suppose, 20,000 rupees. You gave him 25,000 rupees at 50 rupees per dollar value. But your relative goes there, okay, he brings it back to India. Okay, but he goes there and he calls you up that now as $1 is equal to 55 rupees, 25,000 rupees are not enough. You will have to pay 27,500 to get the same product. Now think of the product. This product is of the same value in US. It is still $500 in US, but due to currency devaluation, you have to pay more. So in domestic prices, what happens? It leads to increase in the domestic prices, and what happens? So this same iPhone which used to cost 25,000 rupees will cost you now 27,500. So for importers there is always a negative effect from this. For importers there is always a negative effect from this. Okay, so I hope I'm able to clear it to you. Yes, next question. No, Krish Ranjan, the point is the domestic prices, yes, you are absolutely correct. It means the price of goods that are neither imported nor exported. No, it's not just that. The point is that when currency devaluation takes place, there is a lot of things that we import in our country, and that are the raw materials for many of the things. So that is why when currency devalues, things become expensive in that sense. So this is just an example to show you what actually happens when even it comes to the current market. The people will demand more money because as the currency has devalued, they will need more money to buy more things. So that is also one reason in the domestic market that it goes up. As the currency gets devalued, because you will not get the same price for which you have bought the event, for which you have bought the product. So you will have to pay more. That is the main reason behind it. So that is what the sellers demand more from you to increase their neutralize their losses. Okay, Krishna is consider this iPhone to be kept in an Indian market. After all, it is being imported from some place. So what happens is, as it devalues, the shopkeeper will have to send more rupees outside to get this thing. So eventually, it will help him to increase the prices increase the prices of it. That is the main idea. Okay, next question. Well, question number 28, if you want, you can see question number 28. The 28 is asked about 26. Sorry, question number 26. That is about Dornier 228. Just read about Dornier 228 on web something. It's an Indian innovation, sort of Indian innovation. So you can read about Dornier 228 on web. You will get good idea. Okay, next question that you can ask. Yes, 57. Okay, 17, 57, please write slowly. We move on to 57. Consider the following statements regarding coral bleaching. Now, this is a static question. I think, Kavita, you can easily get it from any geography book. Well, coral bleaching, the decrease in temperature causes bleaching in the corals, rather increase in the temperature. It's the increase in temperature that causes bleaching in the corals. Well, it's not something that we can actually discuss. It's a static question. Seedha book se hai question. Just see any book, you can easily get the details. Yes, question number 17, Pankaj. Moving on to the next. Yes, option 3, El Nino phenomenon has also been associated with coral bleaching. They say because because of the movement of water and the temperature in the water, it has been linked with it. That when coral bleaching takes place, there is a chance of it because of the difference in the temperature in water. Okay, there is, what is El Nino? El Nino is also is related to the temperature of water and the movement of that small current. So that has been related to it. Well, it's true, it's a fact. Less of an explanation. Question number 17. Salinity near the surface of the northern Bay of Bengal is low because the bay receives a lot of fresh water in form of rain and from the runoff from the surrounding rivers. Absolutely correct. And salinity near the surface in the Arabian Sea is much higher than in Bay of Bengal because evaporation over Arabian Sea is much greater and it receives relatively less river runoff. Yes, it's correct. Salinity, what is it, salinity? Take a cup of water and take a pinch of salt and add fresh water to it, the overall salinity will decrease, and overall any seas, any water bodies, salinity will depend upon the amount of surface runoff it is getting, the amount of fresh water it is getting, and plus also amount of debris it is getting. If it is getting more debris, its salinity will be high. If it is getting less of a debris, its salinity will be low. So salinity, salt pump with reference to it, for any water body, the amount of salt in the salinity depends on the amount of salt and the amount of fresh water resources. Now, Lake Van and Dead Sea, why it has very high salinity? It has very high salinity because a number of rivers bring down the debris to it and collects it in those lakes. On the other hand, wherever there is a inflow of fresh water or there is a heavy rain, naturally salinity will be less. Or if there is very heavy, sunlight is there and evaporation is very heavy, so evaporation means loss of fresh water. So loss of fresh water again means increase of salinity. Addition of fresh water means decrease in salinity. So just check in Bay of Bengal or in Arabian Sea where actually the addition of fresh water is taking place or the evaporation of fresh water is taking place. If evaporation is taking place, the salinity will increase. If addition is taking place, salinity will decrease. So I hope the doubt is clear to you. For any salinity area, if you want to check salinity of an area, just see if fresh water is being added to it or not. Or if there is a unique case, just check if debris is there or not. If lots of amounts of salts are getting poured, that means it's there. Then question number, I hope it's clear to you, Pankaj. Then next question number 65. No doubt global warming. No, Pankaj, it's not in research. It's not. We cannot say that it's not proved. It's already proved. Because it's generally a science. If less of water is there, more of salt means the salt is keeping the salt amount same. The fresh water will determine the salinity. The more you have, the less salinity. The less you have fresh water, more is the salinity. Because the salt doesn't get evaporated. So that is the reason. More of a science here, and that is what is used in determining the salinity questions. Yes, 65 question. Question number 65. The salt pump's role is different. Salt pump that we talked about, it's also a term derived, just to explain this phenomena, means from one area to other areas, the salt movement is there. Yes, question number, just a minute, there was a sound. Yes, eastern coast of Sri Lanka. That is, just a minute, I'll just clear your doubt by a link. I'll give you a link and if you want, you can read this Hindu article. Recently it was there. I'll just give you all to read. If you want, you can read this Hindu article. Yes, I hope you got the link. You all can read. This has been the source for this salt pump. So just check that. It's still more of an assumption rather than a clarity. It's more of an assumption, I would say. It's not a 100% established fact. Okay, going further. Question number 65. No doubt global warming is increasing day by day. But it is our duty to reduce the warming of planet as energy conservation starts very at home. What can we do to reduce global warming? by substituting a compact, in this the options are given opposite. So I think that is your doubt must be. Select the correct answer. By using two small bulbs in place of one large bulb, it is wrong. You cannot use it. It is less energy efficient. By deciding what we want out of our refrigerator before opening the door, it can add by substituting a compact fluorescent bulb from a traditional bulb. So, fluorescent bulbs are fluorescent ones and incandescent. The normal bulbs that we use are not very energy savers, rather the fluorescent one are. Okay, so so we generally have a different answer here. So answer given is wrong in your sheet. The second one cannot be used, and first and third are correct. So 1 and 3 are correct. So correct answer is option C. Yes, next question. Yes, 66. Yes, this is a prime number. Now I was going to tell you about this, that this is the largest prime number that has been actually correctly computed. The largest prime number that has been actually computed. This is done by GIMPS. This is an important project that determines these numbers. Great Internet Machine Prime Research. If you want, you can note it down. GIMPS. They help in. This is one of the search expedition, you can call it. It's a project, that finds these prime numbers. So highest one recently has been discovered. That is G57885161. If you want, there is startling fact. There are 17.4 million digits in this number. 17.4 million digits. Okay, next question. Which of the following best explains the cascading effect of taxation? What is cascading effect? Yes, what is actually the cascading effect? What actually happens is, in some of the things that we buy, at every stage there is a tax involved. So what happens is, yes, I just give you a link. You can read from here and I'll explain it together. Yes, here's the link for you. Yes. Now what happens? What happens is, suppose we buy, best example is petrol in the market. The petrol in the market that is bought by us, there is first a tax, there is a tax levied by the central government. Then there is levied by the state government. Then there is further it is added in the form of education cess and in form of many other cesses that we add. And then finally the retailer's profit. So what happens is the cascading effect of the tax lead to the very large increase in the prices, which is much more than the rise in the tax. The idea is what they aim, the tax जो थोड़ा सा बढ़ाना होता है वो तो थोड़ा सा ही बढ़ता है, but its effect is that there is a large increase in the overall tax burden. So that is the cascading effect. It keeps on piling up. It keeps on piling up. Yes, next question. Yes. Piling up of tax or overall price. The tax gets piled up, which results in increase in the prices. So generally, tax filing is from individual authority. The tax is less, but overall price it is very higher. The next question. Then there is also a question about, I guess, sterilization. There is a question about, yes, question number 71. If you want, you can open the liquidity trap. These days it seems to be common in the Indian market. It seems that it's happening in the Indian market. What is liquidity trap? By name, something that you can get is that some liquidity is being trapped. That is, कोई particular, कुछ पैसा ऐसा होगा जो बाहर नहीं आ पा रहा होता है. Okay, so what does it mean? Why it's there in the news these days? Have you read this term somewhere? Now, there is one case that suppose the economy is in a state where people are anticipating that the interest rates are going to rise. So what happens is, when interest rates are going to rise in future, what happens is a lot of people keep their cash hoarded. जैसे आपको भी पता हो interest rate अभी 6% है market में और 8% होने वाले हैं suppose. So what you will do? You will try to hoard the money. You will say कि अगर पता ही है 2% बढ़ने वाले हैं, तो let's take 8%. Why to take 6%? Okay, so that is the idea. Liquidity trap is in such conditions there is a large amount of cash that is being hoarded and is not used in the production activity, and that is called liquidity trap. Generally a large amount of money is trapped against not investing. Okay, so generally just understand this liquidity trap in very nominal sense. Then next question. 84. Okay, what is fiat money? What is a fiat money? Okay, what is fiat money? Fiat money, it is actually a type of, currency or legal tender that has been fixed by the government. Okay, it's a nominal thing that we use in the market. The best example is, the notes that we use in the market. That this value, its value, intrinsic value has been fixed by the government. That is a fiat money. Now, gold coin, is it a fiat money? Do you know it's fixed by the, is it fixed by the government? Certainly not. It depends on the market forces, and fiat, it's not the fiat money, it has extrinsic value rather. It has intrinsic value, and the fiat money are generally it's without intrinsic value. Okay, then currency deposit ratio is the proportion of the total deposits commercial banks keep as reserves. So it's that total proportion, that is CRR actually that they keep on as reserve. That is cash reserve ratio. Currency deposit ratio is something different, not related to this. Okay, CDR, it's given in the detailed answer sheet provided to you. It's the ratio of the money held by the public divided by the money that they hold in bank deposit. Okay, next question. So, both these options are wrong and the correct answer is D. So, fiat money is, gold coins are not fiat money, it has intrinsic value, it's not a fiat money. Fiat money is our legal tender, the notes that we use, the Gandhi series of notes, that is fixed by the government, it can be altered tomorrow. Gold coins value cannot be altered by government tomorrow. Then next question. Yes, 78, question number 78. The monetary authority of an economy is doing some intervention in the money market to keep the money supply stable against exogenous or sometimes external shocks such as increase in foreign exchange flow. The authority is said to be using which of the following techniques? Now, it is sterilization. Try to understand. I'll explain you in the normal terms of what is sterilization. Sterilize करना क्या होता है? एक चीज से दूसरी चीज को दूर रखना. In normal terms, okay, sterilize करना यानी कि जो गलत चीज हो उसको किसी तरह खत्म करना या दूर करना. Now, what happens many a times due to external foreign money supply, there is a problem in our domestic market. So, what government does is, in order to save our domestic money, they sterilize. The sterilization is they keep the foreign flows out. By some regulation or by some rule, they try to keep our domestic money away from the foreign effects. So that is what sterilization is. Basically, China, what China is doing is a kind of sterilization. It's saving its domestic supply from the foreign money inflows. Okay, so generally sterilization is referred in terms of, remember, it's referred in terms of foreign money supply only, which is generally done away to save our local money. Yes, next question. There is some problem with the system, I guess. Just hold for a minute. I guess there is. So just a second. There was some. My system was a bit hanged, I guess. So I'm unable to. Yes, just hold for 1 minute because there is some. I can see 95. Sorry, there was a system hang for some time. Such things very usual, very easy in India, very common in India. So, which of the following statements in regard to the legacy of science and mathematics of ancient India are correct? Now, well, it's static question again. I generally discourage such questions to be asked. Should be astronomy made great progress in the country because of the planets came to be regarded as gods. One reason is correct because that is why they got very big importance. Then ancient Indians made 3 contributions in these field system: notation, decimal, and use of zero. Of course, correct. These information we can easily get from the ancient NCRT. NCRT, this question is directly from the NCRT. So I don't think there is anything to discuss. Correct is 1, 2, 3 all. Yes, next question. Yes, next question. I cannot see the question. There is something, it gets hanged and then comes back. Okay, fine. Yes, I guess it's working now. Yes. So next question. Okay, how sterilization is done? So sterilization, suppose there are many methods for sterilization. The idea is to keep your local currency safe. So suppose your value is appreciating, current currency's value is appreciating. So what they can do is they can sell off their currency. They can sell off their currency. They can buy the foreign exchange reserves. They can boost some foreign exchange reserves. So that is one operation. Then many open market operations are there that can be used to cut off the money supply. The idea is to cut off the currency circulation or to increase the currency circulation in the market. For that, they can use many methods. Sometimes they can increase the limit in certain funds. Sometimes they can decrease the limit in certain funds. Sometimes they can come in the market openly to buy some of the currencies, create artificial demand. Sometimes they can sell out the currency. So in all, to safeguard their currency, to stay away from they just keep it away from the foreign exchange reserves and try to save their own currency. Okay, so overall जो भी करना है, idea is अपनी currency को save करना है. उसके लिए open market operations कर लो, चाहे तो increase कर दो किसी particular scheme में foreign currency reserves increase कर दो, किसी में decrease कर दो, the way you need it, if you want to appreciate it or if you want to depreciate it. Then question number 10, Ashok. Yes. The ocean, consider the following statements regarding Pacific Ocean. The ocean is connected to Arctic Ocean through Davis Strait. Well, of course, wrong. It is connected through Bering Strait. The overall shape of this ocean is triangular if its extent in both the hemispheres is considered separately. Of course, correct. This north and this is south. The trenches are found mainly in Eastern Pacific Ocean. Wrong. It's found in western part. So 1 and 2 are correct. Sorry, 2, which is not correct. Sorry, the 1 and 3 are not correct. So C option is correct. Then any other question? It has become actually warm in Delhi. The Delhi has started to melt now. 3 months, next 3 months will be actually hot. All of you are invited to visit Delhi during this summer. Yes, fine. Any other question? Yes, Ashok. Question number 6. I think we have already discussed that. Okay, question number 6. Consider the following statements in regard to World Press Freedom Index. Recently, Press Freedom Index was released. India has been ranked pathetically down. Okay, so 140th in the index, which is lowest since 2002. Yes, the whole point is the press index only takes the account of free press. It doesn't take the quality of journalism or internet censorship or against journalists. So these all things are not taken. It just takes only takes with the press freedom that is being given. So if press freedom is there, so that is the main criteria that has been used to determine World Press Freedom Index. So only 1 is correct, the rest 2 are insignificant. Human rights violations certainly not related to any of the press freedom index. It's the press freedom that they give. That's only the point. Next question. Yes, question number 17. Yes, we have already taken this salinity. Now, as we discussed it with Gaurav also, the salinity depends on the amount of fresh water and the debris or the salt that is being added. So the amount of fresh water is more in Bay of Bengal. That is why salinity is low. Anywhere in the world where fresh water influx is high, the salinity will be low. And on the other hand, Arabian Sea is comparatively higher because evaporation होता है, evaporation से fresh water loss हो जाता है और addition बहुत कम होता है because there is not many great rivers in India that flow towards our western coast. Eastern coast में सारी rivers, even Ganga, Brahmaputra together, then Godavari, Krishna, Kaveri, Mahanadi. Then next question. Consider the following statements regarding the revolt of RIN 1946. Lord Birrell, the concurrent Viceroy of India, condemned the response of Indian Army towards the revolt. No, rather, he did not condemn actually. That we say what's mentioned according to the book is, what's mentioned according to the book is, it's given in the sheet that has been provided to you, that gave a clean check to the Indian Army for its role. The question is directly from your NCRT. So such things, I would say, you see this is the factual part. We don't have anything to understand in these questions. You can directly check the NCRT book to get it corrected. The second is wrong. He does not actually condemn, rather he did not encourage, but point is he did not find the things as guilty because of certain reasons that they have given. Rather he gave clean check. Okay, 2020 program, that is, it's directly given. Scientists suggest that a 20% improvement in nutrient use efficiency means that is, it will not be wasted. We use a lot of nutrient, the efficiency is not very high. We use some of the products that is not nutrient efficient, rather some of them excess is wasted. That would reduce the annual use of nitrogen fertilizer by 20 million tons, and they have come. Now, if you will use nutrient efficiency will increase, that means less of fertilizer are required to grow enough food. For suppose 200 million tons of growth of food, we can have enough nutrients. So we'll not have to grow 260 million tons. So for additional growth, we use a lot of fertilizers, nitrogen fertilizers, which is certainly unsustainable. So idea is to improve nutrient efficiency, which will help in controlling the growth of production of agricultural products. Next question. Okay, question number 24. In an economy condition of lack of money supply, no, it's just it's, what can we say? It's directly the definition of deflation actually. In an economy condition of lack of money supply in comparison to the supply of goods and services, like the condition exists in Japan, we can promptly say. Which of the following statements are correct about body burden? Body burden is the level of body burden, you can read these 3 points as correct. तीनों को सीधे याद कर लो. Body burden, it's a recent concept, means actually what is the actual amount of certain chemicals in our body. So very essential tool coming in the future. This will be very much efficient used in determining the health of a body, that if the particular chemicals are in the equitable ratio and in the prescribed ratio, that means a healthy body. So very important coming in the coming days. So body burden, just you can remember as it is these 3 statements. All 3 are correct. Okay, so we are, next question. Okay, so I think it's 7:40. Yes, Kavita, we have 5 more minutes, 7:45 till, so we'll have to wrap up before the conclusion. When some animals faces scary situation, their bodies have to prepare either fighting or running away. This becomes possible by secretion of adrenaline directly into blood. What are the effects of adrenaline? Well, जब आपको गुस्सा आता है, आप सोच लो क्या होता है. वही effects होते हैं. The heart beats faster, resulting in the supply of more oxygen. the blood to the digestive system, and skin is reduced due to contraction of muscles around small arteries. Well, of course, very very clear. इसी से तो हार्ट बीट हमारी तेज हो जाती है, contraction of muscles हो जाते हैं. The breathing rate decreases because of the expansion of the diaphragm and rib muscles. Incorrect. Breathing rate increases. Adrenaline, you know, when suppose I leave a stray dog behind you, जो हमारे साथ जो होगा ना वही है, समझ लो. हम कभी जा रहे हो, अचानक एक कुत्ता दौड़ा ले, आप सोच लो क्या होगा आपके साथ, वही सेम चीज है. दैट इज व्हाट एड्रेनालिन रश. और सपोज एक बॉल में 6 रन चाहिए और वो वाला सिचुएशन हो, फाइनल मैच आप देख रहे हो, एकदम धड़कन तेज, योर फेवरेट प्लेयर इज प्लेइंग और समथिंग, या आपका रिजल्ट निकलने वाला हो, तब भी ऐसा होता है. ओके, एड्रेनालिन रश बहुत तेज होता है, धड़कन बहुत तेज हो जाती है, सांसें तेज हो जाती है. अगले साल जब आपका रिजल्ट निकलने वाला होगा मई में, तब इस समय एड्रेनालिन रश आपका बहुत हाई होगा. और एग्जाम जब खत्म होता है तो एड्रेनालिन रश खत्म हो जाता है, एकदम सब कुछ लगता है कि सब कुछ खत्म हो गया. ओके अशोक, क्वेश्चन नंबर 39. Modern houses are full of harmful chemicals and one of them is lead. Though several countries have banned the use of that substance, India is yet to do so. India is generally very back in these things. Inhaling lead dust while performing mundane chores like opening or closing doors is the most common source of lead poisoning. Okay. No, well, you know, these things, these such questions are static questions. There is not much in discussing. Well, these 3, 1 and 2 are correct. Second is wrong. We don't have any mechanism to get rid of lead. Lead अगर हमारे शरीर में ज़्यादा हो जाए तो lead poisoning हो जाती है, and it could cause death also. So lead detoxify naturally नहीं होता है हमारी body से. So that is why okay, fine. Any other question? Or it's around 7:44 now. Okay, last question we can take. Ashok, question number 86. Okay, sorry, question number 43. Which of the following statement is not correct feature of Coriolis force or effect? Well, Coriolis force becomes effective on any object which is in motion, not necessarily. What is Coriolis? Now, Ashok, please define Coriolis force. It's caused due to the rotation of the earth. You know, I hope you know these things must be ready with you. Such questions need not be asked like what is Coriolis force. Okay. Now, when an object moves in northern and on any rotating object, suppose there is an object that more rotates, it generally deflects in a direction. That is called the Coriolis effect. Means what happens? Suppose there is a rotating frame. एक छोटे से बॉल पे आप रख दो, एक छोटा सा डॉट रख दो, और वो डॉट नॉर्मली सीधे सीधे चलाओ उसको and keep on rotating the ball. You will see the dot will take a curved path. That is, it may go left or right. So that is the main effect, that is called Coriolis effect. Now, what is it? That is the Coriolis effect. Now, its Coriolis effect, how it is used in our day-to-day life? Well, of all of us, we all are living on this earth, which is in a constant state of motion, and as we move, we get deflected towards right or left. The best is seen with the wind that is deflected by the Coriolis force. Anything which travels on the earth is affected by Coriolis force. Okay. You know, the ocean currents, the wind system. Yes, question number 45 too. Toxic chemicals which are present in toys are not regulated and monitored by government, putting children at risk. You know, there is, you know, this lead is very cheap, and there are many chemical plastics, phthalates also. Phthalates, you know, they use sulfur also. So, you know, they are used in our toys, and to make it cheaper. So if we avoid those and we use the correct raw materials, it will become very expensive, and that is why, but in India we can see around the roadside a number of toys are being sold. So at times they react with, of course, in sun, with heat, and of course sometimes with water, and they produce some of the chemicals that are dangerous to our skin. And the children, small children, that they play, sometimes they inhale, or sometimes they touch some of the things that is certainly not healthy for their body. So that is why these toys are very very harmful. And in India we know there is no regulation in this, certainly not as of now. अभी तो कोई important चीज में नहीं हुआ है, तो खैर ये तो बहुत दूर की बात है कि टॉयज में रेगुलेशन आ जाएगा. Yes, Kavita, 54. Earlier, a mixture of antimony, trisulfide, potassium chloride, and white phosphorus with some glue and starch was applied on the head of a match made of suitable wood. But white phosphorus was dangerous both for the workers. These days, what is used? White phosphorus now has been avoided. It's like the match head composition, which is antimony, trisulfide, and potassium chloride only. These two are only used. No, yes, Ashok, no monitoring body right as of now, because such things, there is not much revenue, and there is not much effects. Now, effects. Now, scientists have not given conclusive proofs also, but there are certainly some proofs. So, India is generally laggard in these things, and commonly we see a number of sunglasses that are being sold on the roadside, and we know a number of those sunglasses are very harmful to our eyes, but still they are sold in the name of Ray-Ban or many other things. So 100-200 रुपए के मिलते हैं वो, and they are very very harmful. Rather, they are not the original Ray-Bans or other glasses, but they are sold and it causes effects to our eyes, but there is no regulation or monitoring in that sense. Okay, fine. Okay, thank you very much.